Meredith and Nick calm, until it isn't. When the episode opens with Meredith and Nick lounging in that impossibly peaceful, gorgeous house, it almost feels unreal. They look settled, comfortable, like two people who finally earned some quiet, and then chaos walks through the door. Nick's younger sister arrives, bringing news that should be reassuring. She's 2 years sober, she's working, she's trying to rebuild her life, and also, she has a baby Nick didn't even know existed. From that moment on, the episode makes one thing clear. Nick isn't reacting to the present. He's reacting to history. This isn't the first time his sister has promised change, and Nick has paid the price before. He raised her child. He sacrificed his own future. He lost the woman he loved because responsibility is life whole. So when she leaves to clear her head and forgets baby Miles behind, Nick's mind doesn't go to maybe she'll be back. It goes straight to here we go again. Meredith's quietest line is the loudest one. What's fascinating here is Meredith's response. She doesn't panic. She doesn't romanticize the situation. She doesn't bolt. Instead, she calmly tells Nick something enormous. If his sister doesn't come back, they can raise Miles together. That's not Meredith being impulsive. That's Meredith Grey, a woman who survived abandonment, grief, single motherhood, and chaos, choosing stability. So when Nick later asks her almost carefully, "Are you asking if I want to have another baby?" And Meredith answers, "Whatever happens, we're in this together." That moment isn't about a baby. It's about commitment. And yes, it absolutely feels like the show is flirting with the idea of a proposal. Not because Nick is ready to drop to one knee, but because this is the first time we've seen Meredith offer permanence without fear. The future is suddenly a real question. Nick and his sister, a crack in the wall. When Nick's sister finally returns 2 hours later, it leads to another blow-up. But this time something shifts. Nick actually listens. He doesn't forgive everything. He doesn't erase the past, but he allows the possibility that people can change. Their relationship doesn't magically heal, but it softens, and that matters, because Nick's greatest fear isn't losing control. It's losing everything he's built, again. Meanwhile, Richard Webber faces his own past. While Meredith and Nick are dealing with living family wounds, Richard Webber is confronting a ghost. During his cancer surgery, Richard dreams of his father, who died of the same disease Richard is now fighting, and the conversation cuts straight to the bone. Richard carries guilt, not just as a son, but as a doctor. He wonders whether he should have seen the signs earlier, whether silence, pride, and avoidance cost his father his life. When his father dies again in the dream, he leaves Richard with the serenity prayer, ending on the wisdom to know the difference. And that line matters, because Richard wakes up changed. Catherine is there, complaining earlier about burial plots and Adele, because that's how she copes. But now she brings real news. Richard is cancer-free. He survives. But more importantly, he lets go of something he's been carrying for decades. The messy middle. Jules, Lucas, and the cost of good intentions. Elsewhere, Jules and Lucas try to help a tennis instructor who can't afford to wait months for surgery. Their solution? Exaggerate his pain. Bend the truth. Force the system's hand. It's well-intentioned. It's familiar Grey's Anatomy territory. But this time, the episode doesn't fully endorse it. Simone and Quan get pulled in unintentionally. Winston notices immediately, and Jules lies. Not just to protect herself, but to protect her sense of righteousness. And that lie may cost her more than she realizes, especially with Winston. So what is this episode really about? Season 22, Episode 9 is asking one central question. What do you do when the people you love threaten the life you've built? Nick fears repeating the past. Meredith chooses to stand still instead of running. Richard learns that survival isn't just physical, it's emotional. And Jules is about to learn that good intentions don't erase consequences. This episode doesn't explode, it lingers, and sometimes that's more powerful. So let's talk. Were you also half expecting Nick to propose? And do you think Jules's scheme is going to come back and haunt her? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're here for real, thoughtful Grey's Anatomy breakdowns, you know what to do. I'll see you next time.